Out 1, Jonathan Shihai. Number 4, Max Lozier. Number 7, Nicholas Fontaine. Number 8, Eric Milan. Number 9, Pierre-Olivier Thibault. Number 20, Hugo Henderson. And at libero, number 3, William Burton. And now the starting lineup for your Dalhousie Tigers. Number 5, Michael Donovan. Number 6, Lucas Condon. Number 11, Sartar Sedin. Number 14, Vincent Allen. Number 16, Josh Leon. And at libero, number 3, Owen Schreck.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's RSEQ men's volleyball game. I'm Ilya Kurbanov and with me is Craig Thurkildson live from Dalplex for this evening's men's volleyball action featuring Laval Rouge et Or and your Dalhousie Tigers in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Well, Craig, welcome to the other side of the court. Now you'll be on the mic with me today presenting the color commentary. What is the key to this new year for the Tigers? They haven't had success last year, 2 wins, 9 losses. You know, what are we looking forward to this year?
Yeah, it's a young squad for the Tigers this year, bringing in 8 new rookies, and obviously losing 6 guys last year, myself included. So it's a younger group going in for the Tigers this year, but they're looking to build off the progress they made last year and started off strong here against the Rouge et Or.
Olivier Thibault will start with a serve here. Dowling setting up Donovan, and he goes off the blockers and directly onto the court. Will give the first point to the visitors here. Michael Donovan, impressive rookie season last year. You know, 4.14 kills per set for 153 total. What's next for him this year?
Yeah, Michael's just looking to build off the success he had last year. He was one of the best players in the conference, and he's looking to establish himself this year as one of the best players in the country.
This time off the blockers go Laval. Another one going far. Dug up by Cross. Going over. And a violation going against Rouge et Or. Looks like 410 was a little too close to the net there.
Yeah, I believe it was a double there from their setter, Pierre-Olivier Thibault. He's new starting setter here for the Rouge et Or last year. They're not returning their starting setter from last year, so it's definitely going to be an adjustment for all their key guys.
Dowling dug it up. Now set up for Donovan. Donovan will go. Libero will dig it up. Now Rouge et Or forced to go over. Once more. Tigers now with the kill. Lucas Condon Oldriff. First time pronouncing his name tonight. Hopefully not the last, earning that point on the kill for the Tigers. And Sidhu will go back to serve for the Tigers. Now, that was a quick one for 410. We saw him last year being one of the dominating forces for Rouge et Or. Comes back exactly where he left off.
Yeah. Playing against him last year, he's one of the toughest players in the league to play against. Very physical guy, even at a smaller stature, standing at about 6'1", 6'2". Huge vertical leaper and one of the hardest swings in the entire league.
Lozier with a serve, and now dug up there by Cross, but the ball was forced over the net, and the Rouge et Or squad did not hesitate there in the middle, putting the ball down and get that kill on the attack.
Yeah, Lozier had a huge rookie season for the Rouge et Or last year, one of the best rookies in the entire conference, and he's looking to make that statement coming into his sophomore year.
Now Dowling going to Donovan. Donovan over the blockers. Now quick tip by Fortin. Once more. Now Lozier gets off the blocker, and Donovan was there. Timed it perfectly and got it to get the point for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's a huge block out of the middle there for the Tigers. really setting the tone early here, letting the Rouge et Or know they're not going to be not folding over easily.
Dowling will serve for the Tigers. Dowling gets it over. Now set up by Thibault for a kill. And Henderson, another dominating force. 4.14 kills per set at 145 total on the season. One of the veterans on that Rouge et Or squad.
Yeah, one of the best middles in the conference. A really, really strong attacker, strong blocker, got a great float serve too. One of the top middles in the country as well for the Rouge et Or.
Dowling for cross. Now miscommunication there between the Tigers as looks like Tran got the ball in and nobody kind of got to it.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan was backing up, getting ready to hit there, and I think he was expecting Condon Oldrip to kind of take that and set him up here. But, yeah, just a little miscommunication there and a point for the Rouge et Or.
Now Henderson back to that service line. Gets it over. Donovan will dig it up. Dowling set it up for Donovan, but he goes off the blockers. As the Rouge et Or were ready for that one, sending 2 blockers this side, making sure he doesn't get anything easy.
Yeah, it looked like it may have been a little bit of an underset there for Donovan. Didn't high point that ball, or that ball didn't get up there enough for him. So obviously the Rouge et Or capitalized with a nice block.
Now Henderson once more gets it over. Donovan digs it up. Dowling sets up cross. Cross goes off the blockers, and once more, that would have been, De Jong going off the blockers on that possession, and Dan Oda, the head coach of the Tigers, forced to call a timeout as Rouge et Or off to an impressive 7-3 start in his first set. What do you think is going on now in that huddle during the timeout? Obviously, giving up 7 points is not something you want to have to begin the first set.
Yeah, so coming in here for the Tigers, obviously, I mean, being a part of the team last year, one of our biggest issues was obviously starting off games slow. We were a team that really didn't get into things real quick, and letting on teams go on runs like this really caused us some issues last year. And obviously, Dan Oda called a timeout early. He wants to set that tone to let the guys know that obviously this is not how they want to start games this year, and they want to set the tone from the start and obviously come out with a stronger approach off the start of games like this. So he's talking to the guys here, looking to refocus things. Obviously, start making some higher swings. There's been a couple big swings here from the Tigers right into the block, so he's definitely communicating to them. Obviously, taking smarter swings, going higher off the block, and trying to use that block to their advantage instead of swinging low into the block. And obviously, when you're swinging low into the block, you get some huge stuff blocks like that. When you got a guy like 410 over there on the right side, you give him anything low, he's going to take that and he's going to put it in the floor.
Now, Henderson once more will be going to the service line for Rouge et Or. And float it once more. And this time going into the net, underestimated the power on this one as he has gotten it over the 5 previous services. Now Donovan for the Tigers. Gets it over. Dug out by Lozier. Now set up off the blockers there goes Rouge et Or. And Donovan was trying to set it up cross, but looks like Rouge et Or were ready for that one.
Yeah, it was a great dig there by Dowling. A nice one-handed dig to get that up in the middle. I think Donovan was trying to put that one tight to give Cross a chance there at the net, but obviously just a little bit of an overset there, and the Rouge et Or capitalize.
Now 410 gets it over into Cross. Dowling now sets up Donovan, and he goes off the blockers. That would have been Condon Oldrif, And the lead extends to 9-4 for the visitors. 410. Dowling with the hustle play. Donovan now pushes it over. 410 on the left side, the right side, going out of bounds on the attack.
Yeah, we got a substitution coming here for the Tigers. So we saw this from them in preseason where they start off Sadu in the starting lineup, and then once he gets around through the front row once and comes back around, they like to bring a Jackaman in the front row. A little bit of a bigger front row presence as he's a very athletic guy, very strong hitter out of the middle for the Tigers, and also puts up a huge block. He's very athletic for a second-year player here for the Tigers.
And Condon Oldriff will be serving for the Tigers here in a second. And the umpire gives permission. Condon Oldriff, they're dug up by Lozier. Then set up and off the blockers goes number 9 for Rouge-et-Or, Olivier Thibault. And get another point the way of Laval's squad. Eric Moland all the way from Nesbru, Norway, serving. Dug out by Cross, Dowling. Now setting up the Tigers. Dowling once more. And off the blockers goes there De Jong. Another play. The rally continues. 4-10 now off the blockers. But no touch and out of bounds going on that one. But this probably is the longest rally we've had so far. Both teams kind of not giving up on the play, and it all started up with that dig to start.
Yeah, obviously the Tigers are scrapping here for points. They're not obviously trying to put up a big fight and not go out easy here, so they're going to be looking for anything they can get.
And now Lozier with another kill on that left side, going through the blockers and in. Jonathan Girard will serve for Rouge-et-Or. Gets up there, Donovan dug it up. Dowling now sets up De Jong, and it's a kill, finding the empty space in the back line and getting that kill for the Tigers.
Yeah, big D-ball kill there from De Jong. He's going to be a huge piece for the Tigers this year, coming off the right side. He's a second-year player here for the Tigers. Huge vertical leap coming for them, so he's going to be huge if the Tigers are looking to have success in the league this year.
Cross will get it over. Now set up for Lozier, and he'll punch it in once more and not leaving the Tigers any room to dig that one up. Olivier Thibault will get to the service line for Rouge-et-Or. Gets that ball over and way too far out of bounds. And a service error here for Rouge-et-Or. Andrew Cam will float it over. And Lozier now on the right side, getting another kill for Rouge-et-Or.
Yeah, Condon Oldriff was able to get a little bit of hands on it there, slow it down there for the Tigers, but a little bit of a mishap there from De Jong on the dig, so point there for the Rouge-et-Or.
Now Lozier. A little too much power on that service, and another service error going the way of Rouge-et-Or, and the scoreline stays at 13-9 for the visitors. Quentin Dowling now will be set to serve for the Tigers. Dowling gets it over. Now Olivier Girard will set up, cross, and that'll go off the blockers. Tigers were ready, but the block goes out of bounds.
Yeah, a little bit of a late hands there out of the middle for Condon Oldriff. And if you don't have your hands up and set early on a guy like Fortin who's swinging that hard and he catches you on your way up, you're going to see that ball go off the block and go flying out of the court, especially coming from that power and that speed from him on the right side.
Now Henderson floats it over. Donovan will get it. Dowling will set up. De Jong. Dowling once more. Cross to Donovan. Donovan goes off the blockers and dug up by the Rouge-et-Or squad. And Molland. Now off the block goes Girard. They had no other choice but to put it over, but the Tigers recognized that and took advantage exactly of what was given.
Yeah, it looked to be a little bit of a miscommunication there from the Rouge et Or. Giard out of the middle. He's not usually used to putting that third ball over, and obviously unless it's the direct set to him. So he looked a little surprised there, and the Tigers put a block up on the tip right at the net and capitalized with a nice block there from DeYoung.
Donovan will get it off the net. Olivier Condon. Olivier Girard. Sorry, Olivier Thibault. Jesus. Me mispronouncing and finding these names.
Yeah, it's a nice set there from Thibodeau. He's been looking good for a first-year setter here for the Rouge et Or, getting a lot of one-on-ones so far early in this game, and a big kill there for Eric Mouland.
Now 4-10. We'll get it through. Tran will dig it up. Dowling now will set up DeYoung. He'll go off the blockers and in. Perfect set and a great kill for the Tigers. And we'll have Condon Aldriv to serve for the Tigers. Gets it over. Lozier will set up Mullen there, but Donovan will hit the ball slightly too hard. Found the back line, but too much power on that one.
Yeah, it was a great dig there from Dowling, and obviously Donovan, anytime he gets that ball high up in the middle on that second contact, obviously a very talented hitter, so if he feels like there's one he can go up and hit there on the second ball, he's going to take that chance, especially when the other team's not expecting it. But obviously, a little too long right there.
Now Mullen will get it over. Dowling will set up cross. Now Lozier will go for a kill, but goes out of bounds, and a point goes the way of Tigers.
Yeah, the Rouge et Or look a little bit upset about that one. I think they were looking for a touch call there off the block, but obviously no call from the up ref and no signal from either of the linesmen, so Tigers point.
Now DeYoung will be serving for the Tigers. And a little too hard and out of bounds will be going on that one.
So yeah, DeYoung typically a float server, but typically when he tosses up a float serve like that and you see that spin come off, he's kind of trying to look to hit a hybrid serve there, but obviously didn't catch it right and it floats a little long.
Now Girard gets it over, dug up by Donovan, but there's certainly some miscommunication happening on that, and two players gone for the ball and leaving that empty space, not getting to the second touch.
Yeah, obviously Donovan stepping in there to try and make that pass. I think he wants to free up Cross to get out there and hit. Obviously Cross being the front row guys, but as you said, a little bit of miscommunication between them, and then a late twitch there by Donovan leads to a not so good pass there for the Tigers.
And a perfect dig by Cross. Better set up by Dowling, and even better kill by Edgecam. Send all the power putting that ball down through the hole.
Yeah, that is why they do that strategic substitution to bring a Jackham through the front. Obviously, only standing at about 6'3", which is usually a little undersized for the middle position, but he's got a huge vertical leap, which definitely makes up for it.
Cross. Enough power on the serve. Now Lozier will go off the blockers, just float it over. Dowling tries to tip it in. And now Cross will set up Donovan. He'll go off the blockers. They will dig it up. Forced it over. Edgecam. Now Dowling on a setup again. Tipped by DeYoung. Edgecam will try to go block it. 4-10 now. Off. Looked like off the blockers, but a great rally ends in the point for the Tigers.
Yeah, great, as you said, great rally there. It's been a couple not so good swings there for 4-10 out of the D-ball position. Been a couple out swings, which obviously the Tigers are taking advantage of here.
Cross once again on a serve. Now Lozier will go off the blockers, but dug up this time. And Donovan was looking for that touch, but it was slightly over the net by Dowling.
Yeah, a little bit of a miscommunication on the dig there, I think, between Cross and Dowling out of the Cross and DeYoung there out of the back row, and it looked like Tran was about to step in there and make that set, but Dowling called him off, and obviously he was a little too late, and he wasn't able to make a great contact there on the second ball.
Dowling now once again to Donovan. Lozier will go through three blockers. Tran digs it up. Dowling once again going to Donovan. This tip no one was prepared for, and Donovan put it in the back lines for a point.
Yeah, very smart tip there by Donovan. He's been realizing that setter's been stepping in every time there's been a tip or he's been seeing the tip. So obviously when that setter steps up and you're up there as high as Donovan is, that back corner is going to be wide open and you can push that right over the setter's head for an easy point for the Tigers.
Sidhu now will serve for the Tigers, gets it over. Now Olivier Girard, 4-10, he'll float it over, but it was dug up by the Tigers. Once more, the way of 4-10, and that one dug out by Cross. Now Donovan forced to go over. Another one for 4-10, but this time the Tigers read it perfectly, and Donovan will have the last touch once more. And 4-10, third time the charm, gets the kill on that perfect setup from Olivier Thibault once more in the middle.
Yeah, a couple great digs there from the Tigers, but they weren't able to hit a really good second contact on either of those digs to try and capitalize on a scoring chance. So you give 4-10 that many tries at the kill, eventually he's going to get one for you.
Now Lozier serving for Rouge et Or, and unfortunate there as De Jong was trying to avoid the contact with the ball, but he hit him directly and out of bounds.
Yeah, that's a tough play there for De Jong because obviously he's always coming around that back left corner to go and hit that D ball. So great placement on the serve there from Lozier, obviously hitting him right in the feet. So odds are that ball is probably going to land in the court as well.
Now Lozier dug up by Donovan. Donovan on a setup from Cross, goes off the blockers and gets the point for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's a perfect set there from Cross on the second ball. Obviously, if you can't get it to your setter, Cross, a very versatile player, had some setting experience in his past, so puts a beautiful ball, high ball up there for Donovan, and he capitalizes.
Now Dowling serving for the Tigers on this one. And into the net he goes.
Tough point to lose there for the Tigers as puts the Rouge et Or within 3 points of finishing our first set here at the Dowplex.
And Henderson will go to the service line. And just go over the net. Dug up by Donovan now. Dowling sets up De Jong, and he'll get the kill. Just almost barely scratching that net line as it just falls through.
Yeah, sneaks it through the block there. A much-needed point for the Tigers if they're looking to mount a comeback here at the end of this first set.
Now Donovan will be serving. Gets it through. Now Olivier Thibault, excuse me. Donovan will dig it up. And off the blockers goes Cross. His
huge block there from Nicolas Fortin. My apologies, Jonathan Girard. Big middle there for the Rouge et Or. Very, very long arms, long wingspan. One of the best blockers we have here in the RSEQ.
Now, 4-10. Gets it over. Cross was there, but no one to respond afterwards. And the Rouge et Or are getting closer to that set point. 4-10. For set point. Gets it over. Cross will dig it up. Dowling now sets up De Jong. Off the blockers he goes. Olivier Thibault will set up Molland. That will be dug up. And now Girard on that last touch, getting that set point and finishing it off. 25-17. Not a bad set here for both squads. Obviously, first game of the season in the RSEQ, and certainly something to, get used to and get warm and get going. Now, what are the keys for the Tigers going into that second set to, recuperate and find their ways to get more points on board?
Yeah, for sure. So, for the Tigers, obviously being on the team last year, that's very reminiscent of a lot of the first sets we had last year. As a team, especially recently, had a tendency to have really slow starts, and we saw that here in that first set. I think the biggest thing for the Tigers and staying in competition with teams like Laval, Sherbrooke, these really strong Quebec teams in the RSEQ, what you have to do is limit runs from these other teams. We saw at the start of that last set right there. The Rouge et Or started off that game 7-3. So right at the very start of the game, they create that 4-point gap. And the Tigers will have stretches where they play with these teams, and you can tell they have the talent, but a big issue for them is the consistency of stringing consistent points together and playing consistently well. So that is something they really need to work on. If they want to have a chance in this game here against the Rouge et Or, they have to limit those 3-4-point runs and try and play side-out volleyball with these teams, because that's the way they're going to stay in games. It's really hard to compete with these really strong Quebec teams because you never see teams like them going on 4-point swings where it's just points against them. They always kind of find a way to side out, and they're always making sure they get their points when they need to. So obviously that's where the Tigers need to improve and kind of execute if they want to have a chance here.
For those watching at home, obviously this is the first game for both teams in this season, 2022-23 RSEQ volleyball season. At this time, Dalhousie University's Department of Athletics would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support: 101.3 Virgin Radio, Tony's Famous Pizza, and Dalhousie Food Services. We're here 1 minute into the break, 1 minute left in that break between the first and second set. Rouge et Or squad took the first one 25-17, and you know, they're certainly one of the more experienced teams as well. As you mentioned, the Tigers lost 6 players, brought in 8 freshmen this season. What can we expect from this young squad moving forward further in the season?
For sure, yeah. So when looking at the Tigers this year, obviously, as we talked about, eight new freshmen, and obviously the freshman who's kind of looking to make an impact right now is Owen Tran at the libero position and Lucas Condon-Oldriv at the middle position. They're 2 first-year guys, one Owen Tran hailing from New Brunswick, and then Lucas Condon-Oldriv being a local boy here right from Halifax. They're 2 rookies who are going to be a big part of this Tigers team this year. So these guys really need to perform and really need to have strong rookie seasons here if the Tigers want to obviously be competitive in this RESQ league with strong teams who all had strong performances last year, like Sherbrooke finishing 3rd at the national championships, Montreal, who finished 1st in league standings last year, then obviously Laval last year, who in regular season play took games off of both Montreal and Sherbrooke. So these teams are going to be tough to compete with, but the Tigers know that, so they're going to have to keep building here.
Now the Tigers will start the second set with the service from Sidhu. A second year for the Tigers out of Calgary, Alberta. Studying kinesiology here at Dalhousie.
Yeah, Sartaj was actually a transfer student coming in he spent his first year at University of Calgary and then came through for his second year of university, came through for the Tigers, and has been a big part of the team so far.
Donovan immediately active around on that net. Sidhu will dig it up. Dowling will try to go off the blockers, and they will be rewarded with that point.
Yeah. Huge play there from Dowling at the net. He loves doing that. Anytime he can get that ball close to the net and he can get that ball up off the middle's hands, he's going to take that ball and essentially throw it out of the court. It's an easy point there for the Tigers and Dowling.
Sidhu once more. Dug up by Lozier. And beautiful swing there by Condon-Oldriv on the attack. 2-0 early start here for the Tigers.
Yeah, Oldriv obviously standing at about 6'7". He's going to be a huge presence in the middle here for the Tigers this year. Puts up a huge block, so whenever he can get there and get set, it's going to be a tough guy to go around.
Now, Olivier Thibault will set up 4-10, but off the blockers they'll go. Now Dowling will find Donovan, but a little over him the ball went.
Yeah, looked like there may have been a little bit of a miscommunication there between Dowling and Donovan on what they were trying to run, whether it was a high ball or they're kind of what they call a 6 or a tempo set. Looked like Donovan may have slipped going up for that swing too, so a little bit unfortunate here for the Tigers, but a strong start with now a 2-1 lead.
Lozier on a serve will be going out of bounds once more. This is now his second service error, putting too much power on that service.
Yeah, when you watch Lozier go back to serve, and it was the same thing last year, he's tossing that ball up almost to the roof, and pretty much every time, as you said, with the power, he's swinging about as hard as he can. So when he connects on it and it's in court, one of the best spin serves in the conference. But obviously, there's a tendency for error there as well when you're swinging that hard.
Now Dowling will return the favor pretty much and get a service error of his own and give the point to Rouge et Or. Obviously, that was not his intention, but it just worked out that way. Now Henderson serving for Rouge et Or. Will get it over, dug up by Donovan. Dowling now will set up De Jong, and he'll go off the blockers into the net and get the point for the Tigers.
Yeah, really smart play there by De Jong, and that's a nice adjustment he's made from last set. Usually when he got that under set, he'd take a hard swing into that big block, but when you can do a nice power tip like that, it's a lot harder for the blockers to get their hands on it and actually put that ball to the floor. So very smart play there from De Jong.
Donovan once more. And a little bit too much power on that one for him now. And I feel like we've been returning serves one by one here each point.
Yeah, it's been a strong start for the Tigers when they've actually had the ball in the court, but obviously 2 service errors to start off the set is not exactly what you want to see.
Now for 10. Dug up by Donovan. Dowling will set up cross. Cross will go off the blockers, and Rouge et Or will get the point as Girard and both 410 were ready for that one.
Yeah, as we talked about earlier, Girard's one of the best blockers in the conference. So anytime you get a high ball like that, Cross has got to be looking to swing high and kind of use those high hands. But if you put anything low right into that block, as we talked about before, it's going to get sent to the floor.
Cross will dig that one up. Now set up by Dowling. He'll tip it over. 410 off the blocker is Donovan. Excuse me, that would be Condon Aldrev. And now Cross will go off the blockers on the recovery touch, and that will go out of bounds. Point goes the way of Tigers.
Yeah, very smart adjustment there from Cross. Obviously got blocked on the play before. Knows he's getting a tight set there, and he can use that tip to push that ball off the hands and send it out for an easy point for him. Very good adjustment.
And Condon Aldrev will get it over. Olivier Thibault, a quick set there by him for Girard. He leaves no room to breathe for the Tigers and gets the point off that kill.
Yeah, very nice inside shoot there from Olivier Thibault. Nice connection there between him and Girard. Girard, they typically ran that set a lot last year with their other setters, so it's good to see they're establishing that connection here early.
Now Mullen serving for Rouge et Or. Dowling to Cross. He will punch it in and get the point.
Yeah, great swing there from Cross for the kill, but also a really nice setup there from a Jackham and Dowling. Obviously baiting that quick set, getting that middle up in the air, and setting up a nice one-on-one for an easy kill for Cross.
Now De Jong gets it over and out of bounds, and once more we exchange these serves one by one as the scoreline staying at 6 apiece in this second set.
Yeah, I mean, as I kind of said before, it's been a strong start to the set for the Tigers, but I know Dan Oda will not be happy with the Tigers starting the second set with 3 service errors.
Dowling will set up De Jong. He will tip it over, and obviously you could see that the Rouge et Or squad were not ready for that one. They were expecting a power spike, but he just tipped it over the blockers and got the point.
Yeah, looked like there may have been a little bit of miscommunication there. Olivier Thibault looked like he probably could have dug that ball, but being the setter, you kind of always want to take that second contact. And the libero not being in there with the middle serving, he was not able to make that dig, and he expected someone else to be there, and nobody else was.
And now another service error here for the Tigers as Cross couldn't get the ball across and hit the net, giving the ball back to the Rouge et Or squad. And this time, Olivier Thibault will be serving for them. Gets it over, and they'll return a favor as the Tigers will get that ball back and head back to that service line.
Yeah, kind of a sloppy start here for both teams at the start of this second set. I think that's 2 or 3 service errors from the Rouge et Or, then obviously 4 service errors here from the Tigers. So both teams will be looking to improve on that as we move forward within this second set.
Now, Dowling will set up Donovan, and that was powerful, sending that ball into the left corner in the front lines where nobody was even close to it.
No, it's a great read there for De Jong on the tip from the left side. Makes a really good dig. Dowling sets up a very nice ball, and Donovan capitalizes.
Now Olivier Thibault this time setting up Hugo Anderson, the 4th year, and he'll get the kill in the middle.
See Lozier back to serve here. He's missed his last two, and we've talked about how he's been stepping on the gas every time he's been going up. We'll see if he lets off here or he keeps the pedal to the floor.
And this time it looked in, and it did look in from our angle. I feel like Tigers were expecting that one to go out of bounds, and Lozier did not miss on that one.
Yeah. As we just talked about, he definitely kept his pedal to the floor on that one. Obviously giving that some juice and a great serve there, and it catches the back line.
Now again, Lozier. Dug up by Cross. Dowling now setting up Donovan. Donovan once more will get now the back line. Nobody is there. Everyone is sending the blockers, but Donovan reads it perfectly.
Yeah, a little bit of an inside set there. Donovan does a great job getting his feet to the ball and making a really, really nice swing to the deepest part of the court back in that corner.
Now, Dowling serving for the Tigers. Malo will dig it up, and now 410 will be set up by Olivier Thibault for a perfect kill.
Yeah. Nice matchup there between Donovan and 410 trading kills here for the Rouge et Or and the Tigers. As we kind of talked about it earlier, two of the kill leaders in the conference last year, and they're going to be going at each other all night.
Speaking of which, both of them have 7 and 6 kills this game respectively. And now Cross will dig it up. De Jong will go off the blockers on this long rally. And now there's miscommunication error by Rouge et Or, rewarding Tigers with the point.
Yeah, so with Henderson in there to serve for the Rouge et Or, obviously no libero, who's usually going to take that second contact. I know Lozier used to have some setting experience back in his club volleyball days, so that's usually a ball he'd like to step in and set. So I think Henderson's got to get out of the way there and let the guy with the better hands and Lozier take that set there for the Rouge et Or.
Now Donovan. Dug out by Rouge et Or, Olivier Thibault for 410. That will be dug out by the Tigers. Now De Jong off the blockers. Rouge et Or forced to go over. And Donovan sets up Cross. The rally continues. And net violation against the Tigers there. Cross was a little bit impatient on the feet and gave that point to Rouge et Or.
Yeah, it was a very nice off-speed shot there by Cross to get the Rouge et Or out of sorts, and they gave him a little bit of a party ball, but Cross realized he was going to have two blockers sitting there waiting for him, so he tried to go with that tip and unfortunately just followed through a little too far on the net.
Now 410, dug up by Tran, and Quinn Dowling forced to put it over. And off the blockers this time goes Molland, and perfect kill there. I feel like Tigers expected that ball to go in the middle as Girard was pretty much ready to put it through.
Yeah, Thibodeau's been doing a nice job kind of mixing it up between the middle and the outside, and obviously he's been getting Condon Oldriv in the air for the Tigers, and has been able to achieve a lot of one-on-one opportunities for his hitters, which they've been able to take advantage of.
De Jong going off the blockers, and point goes the way of Tigers, and we have a tie game. 12 apiece between the two in the second set. It's a different picture from what we saw in the first one. Tigers certainly not giving a lot of points away.
No, and I mean, we talked about it earlier. They have those 4 service errors. And imagine what this game could look like if they put in a few of those in. So they're playing much better volleyball. They've got to keep it up if they want to have a chance here in this second set.
And there's Girard now off the net, and in goes his kill. And Laval's squad now taking that lead in this set, 13-12, and this back and forth continues. Cross will dig it up. Dowling will set up De Jong. He'll try to go off the blockers, and I feel like he just missed them slightly on that attack.
Yeah, I know Dan Oda's going to be frustrated with that one. Obviously, De Jong's been having a lot of success when he's been taking the ball and swinging, and I think Laval is queued up on their De Jong sometimes likes that tip a little too much, and he can become too reliant on that. So that's something the Rouge et Or have picked up on, and it's something De Jong has to make better decisions on, and for the Tigers to have some more success here.
And now on this one, De Jong going off the net there as the ball was flying high and pretty much out of bounds, so it was out of reach. Dan Oda will be forced to call a timeout as 3 unanswered points were scored here by Rouge et Or. By the way, if you want more Tigers action, the Tigers will return to the court tomorrow, Saturday, October 22nd. I just have Saturday 22nd, where they will host once more this Rouge et Or squad. Start time is set at 2 p.m. Atlantic daytime. So, giving up those 3 points, obviously, the set has been pretty tight, going back and forth. Both teams had a fair share of mistakes. What do you think both teams are now talking about in their huddles?
Yeah, so I know what Dan Oda is going to be harping on. It's kind of what we touched about on between sets. If the Tigers want to compete in these games, they can't have those 3-4 point swings where they let other teams get easy points like that. Obviously, a tip error there from DeYoung and then a scramble play and he puts a swing in the net. Those are the points that have keeping the Tigers out of these games consistently, even over the past couple years. So it's reducing errors like that is going to keep the Tigers in this game. And for the Rouge et Or, they're obviously looking to put pressure on the Tigers through their service game and their blocking game. So they're kind of looking to keep doing what they're doing. Obviously, they've had a couple service errors, but they've been playing relatively well, and the Tigers are able to compete with them when they're playing well, but they create that separation when the Tigers make a couple mental mistakes, and that can be the difference in these sets.
Now, Moland will be serving for Rouge et Or. Gets it over, dug up by Cross. Dowling will set it up for Edgecam. The ball now is over the net. And Fortin will tip it over. Tran saves it there. And now DeYoung will fly up and high. Lozier will get the kill to end this rally. But what a hustle play there by Tran, digging up that ball and keeping the play alive.
Yeah, great pancake there from Tran. Obviously, Tigers weren't able to execute on the swing there from DeYoung. And the Rouge et Or make a really nice dig, and Lozier with a beautiful hard swing down there, down the line. Tigers thought it might have been out, but obviously just catches inside that right side.
Now Moland will be back at that service line, but we've had a few amazing rallies in this game, going back and forth. Both teams are hustling. I feel like those are the plays that most of the times get overlooked.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about those plays, those are kind of the plays that decide those games. Those big, long rallies where both teams are struggling to get a point. The team who can come out on top in most of those can really make a huge difference.
Now DeYoung will go off the net, and Lozier will back with the ball. Now Edgecamp tips it over, but Girard was ready, but not this time, as Edgecamp catches that ball in the middle, swings it through, and gets the kill right into that corner.
Yeah, a little bit of a miscommunication there. Cross wasn't sure if he was going to take that first ball. He wasn't sure if he was going to hit it, but obviously pops it up. Great set there from Dowling, and Jack comes up there early for that kill.
Now Olivier Thibault sets it up for Lozier, goes off the blockers. To me, almost looked like it crossed it over, but turns out it didn't.
Yeah, so it was obviously a nice setup there from Olivier Thibodeau. He had Girard coming out of the middle, running that back quick. So obviously that's going to hold Ejeckham in the middle, and maybe thinks he's got to stay a little longer to watch that back quick. Slings that out to the left side and creates that separation there. Ejeckham's laid on the block, and Lozier puts it right in between, and that ball goes straight to the floor. Gany
Pelletier will serve it, floats it over just inside those lines, and Tran was trying to get to the ball and slightly too late. Point goes the way of Rouge et Or, and they continue to extend their lead, which is now a 5-point 18-13 stretch. Now on this one, he is short, and Tigers will be rewarded with the point and with a chance to get a run of their own.
Yeah. Honestly, very nice serving sub there from Gagné Pelletier. Anytime you can come in as a serving sub and win yourself a free team for your points, you'll take that as a win, especially when, obviously, teams at this level, they tend to side out most of the time on their serve receive.
Now Cross will be serving for the Tigers. Dug out by Henderson. Now Lozier will go off the blockers and get the point for the Tigers on the attack, as Tigers sent two to stop him and, preventing him from getting a point, but didn't work out this time.
Really nice high swing there from Lozier. I think he uses the outstretched hands of Ejeckham. Obviously takes that on that angle and sends it flying out the right side of the court.
And this time, dug up by Tran, set up by Dowling, and another kill there for Ejeckham, as he is getting active down the middle there. A few good possessions for him. couple of kills for the Tigers, being a presence in the middle.
Yeah, Jeckham's looking to have a big year here for the Tigers. As we mentioned earlier, little undersized as a middle, but very, very physical. So he can definitely make an impact in the attacking game for the Tigers.
Now Sidhu. Olivier Thibault sets up Henderson. Dug up by Cross. Sidhu will get it to Cross, and now a violation might have been committed, but Donovan did not stop playing and puts that ball through for a kill.
Yeah, based off those first 2 touches there from the Rouge et Or, it looked like they were pretty much done with the rally. It was a very ugly first contact, but you usually can't ever call a double on a first contact, and even that second contact didn't look too nice. So obviously Donovan doesn't hear a whistle, and he takes advantage and puts it away.
Now tip there by Henderson. Cross will set up Donovan. Donovan through 2 blockers. Cross once more. Gets it to Donovan, and this time slightly too hard there by Donovan, and the ball goes out of bounds.
Yeah, a little bit of an interesting play there for the Tigers. Cross sets up Donovan there, and it actually goes off the block, bounces off hit Donovan's own head, and way up into the air. For those who didn't catch that on the broadcast, Cross realizes it's the second contact, sets him up, and unfortunately just a little too much on that tip there for Donovan.
Lozier. Dug up by Donovan. Dowling now sets up Donovan once more off the blockers. Moland. Now Olivier Thibault will go for Lozier, but the ball goes out of bounds. The flag goes up, and the point goes the way of Tigers.
Yeah, very good call there from the linesman. It looked at the ball was a little bit there out the side, so Tigers capitalize on the error here from the Rouge et Or and keep the game within 3 points.
Now Dowling serving for the Tigers once more. And a net error there by Dowling, and that would be another one to add to the tally here, as Tigers now committed a few service errors.
Yeah, I believe that's their 5th or 6th service error, and obviously when you look at the 4-point difference in this game, a stat like that is something Dan Oda's definitely going to take back to the guys and harp on, because those are free points given to the Rouge et Or, and when you give free points to a good team like them, they are going to capitalize.
And perfect timing there by Dowling, recognizing there's not enough blockers around the net, getting Oldrev a perfect and an easy point.
Yeah, very nice run there by Dowling. Obviously, Rouge et Or have been focusing on Dalhousie's key guys, especially Donovan there on the right side, so they weren't expecting Condon Oldrev out of the middle there. Great choice there by Dowling.
Donovan now goes into the net, and I'm sure this one is going to come back to bite them in the end.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, depending on how the end of this set, regardless if it's a win or loss here for the Tigers, you know Dan Oda is going to be harping on that, because obviously, as I mentioned before, can't give a good team like this that many free points and expect to compete.
Now Donovan will dig it up. Tipped up by De Jong. Now 4-10 will go off the blockers and get the point for Rouge et Or. There's a scramble play, but the point still goes the way of the visiting team.
Yeah, it was a tight ball there for Dowling. Obviously, he puts a pretty good one-handed set contact on it. I don't think De Jong was really expecting that set to be there for him, so obviously just tips it over. And a nice high swing there by 4-10 to end the rally.
4-10 will go off the net, but the Tigers with the hustle play from Dowling, keeping the ball alive. Now, this time, Moland will go for a kill, but the ball goes out of bounds. A little too much power on that one.
Yeah, it looked like there may have been a touch there off of De Jong on the block. At least that's what the call we got from the linesman back there. So it looks like he may have been able to chip that off the side of De Jong, and obviously point there for the Rouge et Or.
Okay, now 4-10 will go out of bounds on that one, as he tries to keep the ball in, but a little too far out, and a set point continues. 24-19 for Rouge et Or. Now, Oldrev. Olivier Thibault sets up. Moland. That was dug up by Dowling, but
looks like that down ref did not think Dowling got a full hand under the ball there. So obviously point there for the Rouge et Or, and that finishes off our second set here at the Dalplex, 25-19 for the Rouge et Or.
And it's been an interesting swing here. Both teams kind of keeping it alive. Obviously, both making mistakes on a service and to start the second set. But then you saw how Rouge et Or were able to pick up the play, whereas the Tigers kind of struggled to find points on the service. What will we see in that third set coming out of that break from the Tigers? What can we expect for those people watching at home?
Yeah, so obviously I know from my personal experience, Dan Oda will be in that huddle right now, and what he's going to be harping on is those simple mistakes that the Tigers made that essentially put them out of the game. We talked about it in the intermission between that first and that second set. What the Tigers have to prevent are those 3-4 point swings that can essentially put them out of the game. And when you have one of those 3-4 point swings, when it's a tight game, they had it pretty much even at around 13-13, but they had a 3-4 point swing there. And then obviously that creates that separation. And when you have that in combination with, I think it was either 6 or 7 service errors from the Tigers, that's obviously not a winning recipe. So if they reduce those runs and they reduce those service errors especially, because obviously that's a skill that all of those guys can control because it's your own personal serve, that'll be a huge thing if the Tigers want to make a comeback here. Because if they can cut down on those errors, they've been competing, they've been back and forth here, but couple runs from the Rouge et Or and a lot of service errors from the Tigers, that's what creates that separation in the set like this.
And now at this time, if you haven't heard about the Adopt a Tiger program that supports the Tigers in their pursuit of excellence, you should definitely check it out. As they balance the demands of being varsity student athletes, funds raised help ensure that the student experience is as superb as their commitment to represent our university. Visit givendal.ca to adopt a Tiger today. And 2-0 lead here in this first action of the 2022-23 RSEQ season, men's volleyball season. And the Tigers are currently down to the visiting Rouge et Or, losing the first set 17-25, and now the second set picking up the play but still falling short 19-25. We've seen a lot of things as the play progressed. Both teams committed mistakes, and it looked like whoever made the least amount of mistakes came out on top, and that was Rouge et Or as they took care of business towards the end of that second set. If you look at the statistics, the number of kills by both is not that far apart, but it's the errors on the attack, 11 against 8 for the Rouge et Or. There's a lot going on, and block assists versus block assists on the Tigers side. What can you tell for those explaining the picture for those watching at home?
Yeah, so obviously you'd say the biggest difference between these teams right now is their hitting percentage. Attacking errors, the Tigers have 3 more attacking errors at 11 compared to 8 versus the Rouge et Or, but the Rouge et Or are siding out and hitting at a much, much higher percentage. So typically for winning teams, you want your hitting percentage to be up as close as you basically can to get it to about 300. Rouge et Or pretty close to that, hitting about 267. The biggest difference is the Tigers and their efficiency in their attack. Only hitting at about 150 right now. I mean, assist-wise, relatively similar, but the Tigers are having obviously more opportunities to attack here as the Rouge et Or are serving more often, but the Rouge et Or are capitalizing more on their opportunities. So that's obviously got to be on the connection between Dowling and the hitters. The hitters need to execute. Obviously, Dowling needs to keep up his play and keep putting them in positions to be successful, but I think that's going to be a huge difference here. If they can get their attack going and make sure their hitters are being efficient and signing out at an efficient rate, it's going to give them a chance here in this third set and hopefully be able to bring this back here for the Tigers.
Olivier Thibault will tip it off with a serve. Dug up by Tran, and now Dowling will set up Donovan for a perfect kill on the left side around that net.
Yeah, kind of as we just talked about. Great start to the second set here for the Tigers. Great set there by Dowling. A nice fast set out there to Donovan. Finds that seam between the block and pushes it right through there for the kill for the Tigers.
Now Sidhu gets it over. Dug up by Moland. Olivier Thibault will set up for a 10, and he will not hesitate. Punch it through and get the point for Rouge et Or.
Yeah, Olivier Thibodeau, obviously he knows Dowling, a little bit of a smaller blocker here, especially compared to the rest of the Tigers lineup. And when you have your best hitter, 410, over there matched up with them, that's definitely a matchup you're going to try to exploit whenever you can.
Now Lozier. Tran will dig it up, and De Jong was trying to make that hustle play, but that was flying out and out of reach.
Yeah. Great spin serve there from Lozier. Obviously, Tran a little late to react, so he doesn't get his platform set quite quickly enough. And when you have a late platform, especially on a hard spin serve like that, you're going to have issues making a really good pass and putting yourself in a good position to score points.
Now Lozier gets it up and high, and this time out of bounds. The Tigers expected. You saw Cross go down, he saw it fly high, and it's a service error committed by Rouge et Or, and Quentin Dowling will be set to serve for the Tigers, and there's a ball on the floor.
Maybe been a little bit of an error there from our ball staff, but back and situated and back to gameplay.
Now Moland will dig it up. Olivier Thibault will set him up. And now miscommunication there by the Tigers, giving up that easy point to Moland.
Yeah, obviously that's a point the Tigers want to take advantage of right there. A soft roll shot there to the tee. I mean, Tran's got to be really aggressive there. As your libero, that's your primary digging guy. That's the guy you want taking that first contact, especially when you have Donovan there as the front row left side. You want to give him as much time as possible to get out there and hit. So Tran's got to be aggressive there to take that first contact.
Now Girard. Dowling will set up Donovan in the middle. Cross in the back. Dowling sets up DeYoung. That goes off the blockers and into the carry violation.
Yeah, it looked like no. So
never mind.
It was a nice swing there from DeYoung. I think he got it right into the net. But as 410 came up and tried to make that dig, I think he may have made contact with the net. And obviously, I think the rule changed a few years ago. But if you make any contact with that net, it is automatically a violation.
And now Donovan gets it over with a float. Now Bergeron will set up Moland, and he'll go off the blockers, and that will go the way of Tigers.
Yeah, a great serve there by Donovan. Obviously, he usually rips that really hard spin serve, but he has that short spin serve in his bag too. So takes Thibodeau out of the play with taking out the setter. Obviously, great block set there by the Tigers, and that block goes back off of Eric Moland, and a point there for the Tigers.
Now Donovan once more. Bergeron will dig it up. Olivier Thibault will set up Moland, but now that one dug up by Dowling. And Cross was set up there by Donovan, but that will go off the blockers and into his feet.
Yeah, I think Cross was trying to get out of the way there of that one. Thought it may be going out, but ball landed right on the line. And as you mentioned, I think it was in contact with his foot there as well.
Now Fortan gets it over and out of bounds. You could hear the Tigers scream out, the whole team, including the bench.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of a low toss there for 410, so he was kind of chasing that one. Especially as a spin server, if you're catching that ball low, you're either going to have to overcompensate by hitting it higher, and that's what he did there. Obviously, he wasn't able to get as much spin on it, and it goes soaring out the back.
Now Condon Aldrev serving. Olivier Thibault will set up 410. Now DeYoung will set up Donovan, and a kill that left no breathing room for Rouge et Or to get to it, and point goes the way of Tigers.
Yeah, obviously a great dig there from Dowling. DeYoung makes a really good play going to Donovan there out of the pipe. That's a very tough play on a dig like that to push that ball out to the left side. And with two blockers coming out of the Rouge et Or there, great swing there by Donovan and a great kill there for the Tigers.
Now Condon Aldrev will go right into the net on the serve as Edgecam will check in here for the Tigers. And Moland will serve for Rouge et Or. He will get it over, dug up by Donovan. Dowling now will set up Cross. He will go against the blockers. Donovan once more to Cross. That will go against the blockers and now tipped over. Girard will keep it alive. Olivier Thibault now going to Lozier. He will get it over and off Cross. Once more, Lozier, this time tipped and gets it in.
Yeah, really interesting rally there. Great way to finish there by Lozier. Lozier's a beach player in the summer, plays a lot of beach volleyball, so that shot right there, that short roll shot, really hard ball to read, especially when he's faking like he's going to big swing. So a very nice roll shot, almost like a tip, but even harder to read. So great shot there from Lozier. Gets the point there for the Rouge et Or.
Now Dowling tries to tip it over, and looks like the Tigers were out of touches on that one as they couldn't get it over. Looked like another miscommunication mistake committed by the Tigers.
Yeah, obviously that first pass was a little tight, so Dowling was only able to get one hand on it. Didn't put it super high, but that's a ball that Cross he knows he can't score on. That's one you want to just put over the net and give yourself a chance to block and defend.
And now Dowling will set up Edgecam, and he'll go off the blockers, and another point goes the way of Rouge et Or.
Yeah, very nice read there from Girard on the block. I think he had noticed that Jackham had a couple big kills to the right side of the court from where we're looking at now, or to the position 1. So adjusts his block to take that away and makes a great read and gets a great block for the Rouge et Or.
Now Cross will dig it up. Dowling set him up for a tip. Now Lozier will go off 3 blockers. It will be dug out by Rouge et Or. And once more, this time Lozier tip it off. Donovan will set up Cross. Cross will go off the blockers, dug up by Donovan once more, and Cross again, this time tipping it up. Olivier Thibault will try to tip it over, but the blockers were there, and the point goes the way of Tigers after another impressive rally between the two teams.
Yeah, you could tell Cross was getting a little tired there after hitting a few in a row, so makes a good play getting that ball over, and obviously tight pass from the Rouge et Or, and Cross showing that weight room strength, winning that joust against the Olivier Thibault.
And now De Jong will go into the net as the Tigers' struggles from the service line continue.
Yeah, really key point right here in the set for the Tigers. Obviously, they've been fighting back and forth, but Rouge et Or have established a little 2-point lead here. The Tigers need to string together a few points here to keep that game close. You can't let the Rouge et Or open up a 4 or 5-point lead if they want to stay in this set.
Now Girard will return a favor and hit the ball into the net on his service as the scoreline stays at 9-8.
Yeah, in terms of service errors, it seems like whenever one team misses, the next team is missing too. So obviously the Tigers have had a bunch of service errors, but so have the Rouge et Or. So it's kind of balanced things out here in this third set.
And as we speak about service errors, now this time Justin Cross will put slightly too much power into that one as the ball goes out of bounds, and the lead is extended to 2 points as Olivier Thibault will now serve for Rouge et Or. Gets it over. Dug out by Donovan. Dowling now will set him up, and off the blockers goes Donovan to earn that point on the attack.
Yeah, great set there from Dowling and a really smart swing there from Donovan. Obviously, when those blockers are up and outstretched, he's using those arms and not swinging straight into the hands. So if you get that right swing on that arm and that right angle, that ball's going to go flying out the side. So really smart swing there from Donovan.
Olivier Thibault will set up Hugo Henderson there, and now 4-10 tries to tip it, but looks like Dowling makes his bag wide open and goes for that tip once more.
Yeah, so we kind of saw that earlier in that first set. Whenever Dowling gets that tight ball and he's got a blocker right there, he's always going to try and use their hands and push that ball towards the outside of the court, and he does it again. Easy point there for Dowling and the Tigers.
Hijikam gets it over once more. Bergeron will dig it up, and now 4-10 will go out of bounds on that setup from Olivier Thibault, and that will be a point for the Tigers. 11-10, a 3-point swing for the Tigers to take that lead. Hijikam. Bergeron will dig it up. Olivier Thibault now sets up Lozier. He will go off the blockers, but that was dug up, and now Hijikam tries to make that play alive and try to save it, hustling through the advertisement mats, and unfortunately can't get there in time.
Yeah, honestly, a nice dig there from, I believe, De Jong. Obviously, Jackham didn't know exactly where he was, didn't know if he was going to run into anything, so tough play there for the Tigers, but showing some good resilience here. They were down 2, and now they fighting back and brought us back to an even game.
And another service error here for Lozier. He's had a few in a second set now. He's got a couple in the third. Tigers are taking advantage of those points this time around, though.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, Lozier only has one speed, and that speed is top speed. He's always going to try and rip at it, and as we said, when he connects, he's got a great serve, but has not been connecting too consistently today.
Now 4-10 goes off the blockers. Hustle play there by De Jong. And now off the blockers this time goes, looks like Hugo Henderson is Condon Oldrev and Donovan were there, but not there quite in time.
Yeah, great dig there from Dowling. Great hustle play. Great play from Cross there to bring that ball back into court. Condon Oldrev's got to realize he's got 2 blockers to him. You got to put that volley real high and try and get yourself a recycle there so you can get that ball back on your side and convert that into a point for the Tigers.
Now Henderson will go into the net and giving the service back to the Tigers, and that is now 3 straight for Rouge et Or as they couldn't get it over.
Yeah, the Tigers have definitely got to take advantage here. The Rouge et Or giving them some free points, giving them an opportunity to extend their lead in this game. This is a big moment here in the third set here for the Tigers.
Now Donovan gets it up high. Dug out by Henderson. 4-10, excuse me. Mullen now on the setup from Olivier Thibault, and looks like the ball was in, and point goes the way of Rouge et Or.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've got a great vantage point in that line from up here, and that was really, really close. So tough call there from the linesman, but you got to trust the guy that has the best angle.
Now 4-10 will be serving. Dug up by Cross. Now Dowling will set up Donovan off the blockers and will get the point for the Tigers. Once more, both Condon Aldrich and Donovan been doing a tremendous job. Obviously, Edgecam also coming off the bench down that middle.
Yeah, great play there from Condon Aldrich. Realizes he's got two blockers up there. Takes that tip, uses those hands, and gets an easy wipe for a Tigers point.
Now Olivier Thibault will set up 4-10. And Tigers are not ready, as looks like Condon Aldrich was digging up that ball, but no one was ready up front to receive it.
Yeah. Great swing there from fourth hand down the line, and obviously that's a great dig there from Condon Aldrich. Wasn't super high, but if you can take that from your middle, you're going to be happy with that. So the Tigers got to try and execute off of a dig like that.
Dowling sets up De Jong. That'll go off the blockers now, 4-10. And Mullen is forced to go over. Now Dowling once more with De Jong. Now Olivier Thibault will go to Lozier, and off the blockers, Edgecam and De Jong were both ready to get that point. Fantastic timing there by both Tigers. And we have a wet spot break.
Yeah, I know from personal experience on game days here in the Dowplex can get quite hot, especially as a player. So those guys are all out there working hard, so they're going to be quite sweaty. So whenever someone has to lay out for the ball, there can obviously be a lot of sweat residue on the court. And we want to keep our players safe here. So both teams are more than happy to take the time, clean off the court, and get us back into action.
Oh, De Jong on a serve as Bergeron. Now forced to go over is Mullen. Now De Jong will dig it up, and Dowling will set up Cross. This time Lozier once more over the blockers, and it looks like Edgecam was not sure whether Dowling or anyone was right next to him, and the ball goes over and out of bounds.
Yeah, really smart shot there from Lozier. Obviously going back to him being a big beach player, being a very good beach player as well. He uses that nice high roll shot down to the corner. Obviously, there's usually no defender there, so Donovan has to make a nice outstretched dig, and a little bit of a miscommunication there by Ejecam, and a free point there for the Rouge et Or.
Gagné Pelletier comes in. Tran will dig it up. Dowling now sets up Edgecam, and he'll go off the blockers and in. Another point for the Tigers. This is a much better performance we're seeing in this third set by the Tigers. What are your thoughts, and what got them going?
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest thing, it's something we've talked about between both intermissions, is the service errors. The Tigers haven't been making nearly as many service errors, and then it's those 3-4 point runs. They haven't been letting the Rouge et Or go on any runs, and if they're able to do that, they can stay in these games with these Quebec teams. So it's going to be a huge key to success here for the Tigers.
Now Olivier Thibault will go back to Lozier, this time dug up in the back lines by Justin Cross. And Bergeron sets up 4-10. That's dug up by Tran, and now Dowling will get Donovan, and Donovan will go out of bounds. And it looks like the Tigers are not happy, expecting a touch and off the blocker, but it looks like referee is seeing otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, that's referee and linesman both making a call right there, so you have to trust what they saw. I mean, I may be a little bit biased being a former player, but from what I saw from my angle, I thought there may have been a touch too. But obviously, referee and both linesmen don't make the call, so you got to trust the call on the floor when you've got three guys looking at it.
Now it's 16-16, as tight as it could be. And Olivier Thibault will now be serving on this possession, and looks like Dowling is communicating first with the official and now with Coach Oda.
I think Coach Oda's looking for a little bit of an explanation there, but obviously this is a huge play right here for the Tigers. Obviously that's a point they would have liked back, but they got to get that in the back of their mind now and focus on this next point here.
Now Olivier Thibault Dug out by Donovan. Dowling back to Donovan, and that was dug out by Moland. Now Olivier Thibault will try to tip it. Now Tran sets up Donovan. He will tip it over. Now Bergeron will go to Lozier. Lozier off the blockers. Now dug out by De Jong there. Now Donovan once more off the blockers. And the point goes the way of Tigers. You cannot be more impressed with this resilience of the Tiger squad, not giving an inch and getting that point.
Yeah, I think that's a huge point for the Tigers right there. After all that argument and just they would have loved that last point, but they bounced back really quickly. And obviously that's the mindset you need to be a really good competitive team in this league.
Now Sidhu gets it right over. Moland will dig it up. Olivier Thibault will set up 4-10, and he will put it in. Oh, actually, it looks like, yes,
yeah,
he did get the point.
Yeah. Obviously, we talked about it earlier. That's that matchup between Dowling and Fortin. Olivier Thibodeau is going to take advantage of it whenever he can, and Fortin gets a nice tight set there and absolutely buries it down the line for the Rouge et Or.
Now Lozier, this time in. Dowling will keep it alive. Now De Jong will tip it over. Now Olivier Thibault will set up Lozier. Now Tran is making the hustle play but can't get there in time, and Fortin will get that kill for Rouge et Or.
All right, couple big points there for the Rouge et Or. Really nice serve there from Lozier. That's that tough spin serve. When he connects on it, it's hard for the Tigers to deal with, but obviously they're taking the time to clean off that web spot. It's a nice time for the Tigers to reset here, take a deep breath. They're in this game, but they really need to capitalize here and get a side out to keep this game all square.
Perhaps hope on another service error from Lozier. We've seen a one too many, we could say, but I'm sure he is not, that is not in the back of his mind.
Yeah. You can see the Tigers going to a four-man serve receive here, so they don't have Josh De Jong hitting the D ball. They're obviously worried if this serve goes in. They want to have enough passers there. And you called that. That is all you. Another service error there from Lozier. That's, I believe, his third of the set. So the Tigers are taking advantage of these free points coming from the Rouge et Or.
And now this time around, we will have Dowling on the service line. He'll just get it over, Moland. And looks like the ball goes out of bounds and nobody touched it, as Henderson is looking for a potential tip, but the Tigers' resilience staying in the game and up 19 over 18 in this third set, looking to force the fourth one.
Yeah, great swing there from Henderson, obviously. He thought that was in. Linesman had the best angle. It looked like it may have just been a little bit out the side. So obviously the Tigers need to keep working here. The Rouge et Or are providing them a lot of free points here with these missed serves, but they really need to try and execute going into the back end of this third set if they want to extend things and give us another set here on this this Friday night at the Dowplex.
And Tigers showing resiliency, and at this time Dalhousie University Department of Athletics would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support: Under Armour, PepsiCo Beverages, and Cleve's Source for Sports. For those who have just tuned in watching from home, they will be facing Rouge et Or tomorrow once more here in Dowplex, Halifax, Nova Scotia. The set start will be at 2 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. So feel free to join us on AUS TV. Excuse me, that would not be on AUS TV since we are in the RSEQ for the men's volleyball action. Now Dowling will get it over. Mullen will dig it up, and now Lozier will go down the middle, but the Tigers were ready. Now Dowling forced to go over. Miscommunication there. Now Mullen this time will punch it through in the back corner of the Tigers lineup.
Yeah, that's a very annoying miscommunication there from the Tigers. You get a great dig there from Dowling. Donovan puts that up in the front right. I think Josh De Jong's got to be way more aggressive there and trying to get a swing on that, because when you get a nice dig and you get a nice high ball like that, that's an opportunity to get a real good kill and get a real good swing. So obviously we're looking for the Tigers to be a little bit more aggressive there on that play.
Now number 2 Duce will be serving for Rouge et Or, but the Tigers are ready. De Jong is certainly ready to punch it through and get the kill. 2019 Tigers.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I thought De Jong should have gone up and taken a swing last point. He gets that opportunity this point, and he takes advantage for the Tigers with a huge kill to give him a 1-point lead in the first team to get to 20 points here in this third set.
Now Donovan gets it over, scratching the net. Moland off Donovan, and Donovan certainly was not expecting that going to the back line, and now is tie game once again.
Yeah, great deep swing there from Moland. Obviously, that's an in-between ball on the dig for Donovan, so catches him right in the chest. Really good swing and a nice kill there from the Rouge et Or.
Now 410 gets it over, dug up by Donovan, but there's no chance for them jumping over that scores board and officials board. Donovan and, Dowling did not really have any space for that one, and Rouge et Or taking that lead as the back and forth continues between the two, and Dan Oda this time calls a timeout to talk things over.
Yeah, definitely a strategic timeout here from Oda. He knows Fortin's hot from the service line after that ace. He wants to take that time, calm his team down, especially after a shank pass like that. You want to take that time. It's a tactical move by any coach in a situation like this. You want to freeze out that server, give him more time to think about it. Listen, obviously, there can be more, probability for error coming out of a timeout for a serve, because those were really, really important serves. When we have more time to sit there and think about it, there obviously could be more opportunity to make an error. So Oda's looking to calm his team down, reset here, and obviously make a really good pass out of this 14 serve coming out of this timeout.
And it's a 1-point game here, 21-20 for Rouge et Or against the Dalhousie Tigers. I'm Ilya Kurbanov. Alongside me is Craig Thurkildsen, and it's been a story so far. The first two sets, obviously, the Tigers have struggled, making a few mistakes here and there. But this time around, in the third one, with their backs against the wall, they're finding that fighting spirit and not giving an inch to Rouge et Or to continue this third set and possibly force it to the fourth. Now Dowling will set up De Jong. He'll go off the blockers. Now Lozier will dig it up. Olivier Thibault will go to 410. And Donovan was ready for that one. Now cross off the blockers and gets that point, the much-needed point for the Tigers, tying this game at 21 apiece.
Yeah, great timeout there from Dan Oda. Makes a really good reset for the Tigers. Owen Tran makes a nice pass. They're able to transition, get a ball back. Cross with a great swing there off the high hands and sends that ball out of the side for a Tigers kill.
Condon Aldrev. Dug up by Lozier. Now Molden tips it over, and Dowling is ready. Donovan will set up cross. Cross will tip it over the blockers and in, and Lozier was certainly not ready. And it looks like he slipped. Maybe there's a wet spot, and they would like to take a break, but timeout called after 2 unanswered points. Tigers have found their spirit on that timeout. Like you said, that tactical timeout, getting the guys, coming down to shivers. Not letting Fortin get hotter on that service line, and it just paid off dividends.
Yeah, really smart play there from Cross. He realized that ball really wasn't in an advantageous position for him to take a huge swing and get a huge attack. And you saw where Lozier was positioned on that back line. Usually as that 6-back defender, when you have a triple block there, your job's to be on that back line and look for anything flying high off the hands. So he really wasn't expecting Cross to switch it up from that big swing and go with that jump volley. And obviously Olivier Thibodeau in the back row there wasn't ready to make that dig either. So great placement too, putting that ball in that back right corner. As Lozier is sitting there, he's ready to take anything high, so he's not expecting a volley like that. So a really high IQ play there by Cross, and gives the Tiger a 1-point lead here coming down to the end of this third set.
And for those who would love to watch these games live, want to bring your team or a group to a Tigers game, go to our website and fill out Name Your Game form, and you can come to a Tigers game for free. As we speak about it, the crowd actually turned out pretty nice here for the season opener for the Tigers, the home opener for the Tigers, as they will be taking on Rouge et Or for the doubleheader tomorrow once again at 2 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Now, Condon Aldrev will serve once more for the Tigers. We'll get it just right over. Bergeron will dig it up, but Lozier on the touch, and found the angle to get that point for Rouge et Or.
Yeah, it's a really nice kill there by Lozier. Obviously, Tigers weren't expecting a big swing, especially after that shanked first pass, so they only threw 2 blockers up there. Usually in a situation like that, you'd like to have 3 blockers up there just to take up as much court as possible, but Lozier finds that open side of the court and has a really nice kill out of the back row.
Now Malden, Dowling, De Jong over against the blockers. Bergeron will set up 4-10. Over 2 blockers, and the ball goes out of bounds. Point goes the way of Rouge et Or, 23-22 in his third set.
Yeah, if the Tigers want to extend this set here, this is an absolutely massive point. They want to knot things up rather than going down 2 points here to the Rouge et Or and giving them set and match point.
Now Moland will reward the Tigers with an extra point and a breathing room to play as he goes into the net. And a service error giving the point to the Tigers. Now De Jong will head back to that service line for the Tigers. Gets it right over, dug up by Bergeron. Olivier Thibault now sets up Lozier. He'll get the kill and a set point, potential match point for Rouge et Or.
Yeah, big kill there by Lozier. Tigers can take advantage here. They got Girard back to serve, so obviously middle for the Rouge et Or. Not the greatest defender. If they need to tip, they can take advantage with him being in position 5.
Now Girard, Donovan. Dowling will set up cross. Dowling once more, going back to cross. Dug out by Moland. Olivier Thibault. Off the blockers goes Lozier, and Tigers get the point. Tie that game up at 24 apiece and continue fighting for this third set.
Yeah, that's a huge point there from the Tigers. It also gets Donovan, their best attacker, back into the front row, so they can really take advantage of here and try to finish out this final set.
Lozier through the blockers. Dowling now will set up Donovan. Donovan will go off the blockers. Dug up by Moland. Olivier Thibault once more forcing Lozier to tip, but now Dowling setting up Donovan, getting that point, taking the lead in the third set with a chance to take it and force the fourth one.
Yeah, as we just talked about there, Donovan getting back into the front row to finish off this third set here is huge for the Tigers. They can go to their big gun here and really take advantage and try to extend this into a 4 set here at the Dowplex.
Now cross. Bergeron dug it up. Lozier will go through the blockers. Tigers were there. Dowling setting up Donovan once more. Off the blockers he goes, and Tigers will force the 4th set in this game as they take it 26-24. The resilience and the hard work of the Tigers pays off.
Yeah, so this is a very, very big set win for the Tigers. Obviously, looking at our last year, weren't able to manage to win many games against these Quebec teams. So getting a set win like that really gives the Tigers the confidence knowing they can compete with these teams. So that is a massive set win, but obviously they're at a big high right now, a lot of emotions. They need to reset here and focus things going into this 4th set.
For those watching at home, you love to see extra volleyball. I'm sure I do. The intensity has picked up. The game has picked up, and you see the atmosphere, the benches jumping off their seats. The fans are cheering, and that's the best thing you can ask for, especially being in the stands, in the bleachers, watching this game live. And as we mentioned earlier, if you do want to bring your team or group to a Tigers game, make sure to go to our website and fill out Name Your Game form, and you can come to a Tigers game for free. And welcome back to tonight's action in the RSEQ's men's volleyball between the Dalhousie Tigers and the visiting Laval University Laval Rouge et Or. As you might have seen already watching from home, the Tigers forced set number 4, taking the hard-fought third set with a score of 26-24. And for those just tuning in, Tigers are currently down 2-1 in this first season action between the Rouge et Or and the Tigers in the RSEQ men's volleyball. Sidhu forcing it over. Now Olivier Thibault will set up for 10. That will be dug out by De Jong. And now Olivier Thibault this time going to Lozier, and that goes out of bounds. And the first point of the fourth set will go the way of Tigers, as Craig Thurkildson will be coming back and joining me this time around after this third set.
Yeah, you can tell the Rouge et Or are a little frustrated there. Sidhu put that ball over. There was a bit of miscommunication between him and Cross. May have been a little ugly, but no call there from the ref. And great dig there from De Jong for the Tigers to execute and win that first point here.
Now Sidhu making that mistake on the service error, but nonetheless, Lozier now will be serving for Rouge et Or. Going up, dug out by Cross. Dowling will set up De Jong. De Jong will tip it over to try to get it over the blockers, and this time around not able to get through it.
Yeah, I think a little bit of an error there on the tempo between Dowling and De Jong. So De Jong looked to be in there a little bit early. Obviously, he gets that on the way down, so he's not able to put a full swing on it. And a great block there from Mouland.
Now Lozier once more. A lane violation, and that is something fairly uncharacteristic on this level, you would expect.
They use something you don't see very often. Obviously, throughout my university career, I've seen it a few times, but as you said, very uncharacteristic of any player at this level. Just obviously a very bad mental error, and it's just something you don't see very often or don't expect at this level.
Dowling, dug up by Mullen. Now, Olivier Thibault will go through Condon and Oldriff and get that point. There was Mullen.
Yeah, a little bit late there on the hands there from Condon Oldriff, and I believe Henderson is able to kind of just slip that one through off the hands and get a good kill there for the Rouge et Or. Now he is back to serve.
Henderson likes to float it over. Will get it over. Dug up by Donovan, and Dowling off the blockers. Goes De Jong, and not quite through there as the point goes the way of Rouge et Or.
So yeah, that's the error right there. Obviously, a little bit of an inside set there from Dowling, but De Jong's got to realize that if he goes in on that, he can't take a huge hard swing into the bottom of the block, or that's what it's going to end up, especially when you got a blocker in the middle there like Girard.
Henderson keeps it in. Dowling now sets up Condon Oldriff. Off the blockers, the Tigers keep that ball alive, and De Jong will get the kill on the second attempt on the attack from that left side.
Yeah, nice job there by Dowling, mixing up the attack, going to Condon Oldriff in the middle, slinging it back out there to Josh De Jong, keeping the blockers on his toes, and obviously not favoring their heavy hitter and big gun Donovan too much, so keeping Rouge et Or guessing.
Now Donovan will get up for that one, gets it over, scratching the net. Olivier Thibault on that first touch, setting up Girard, an easy kill down the middle. 4-10 will be serving for Rouge et Or. Gets it over. Donovan will dig it up. And cross off the blockers and out of bounds. And the point goes the way of Tigers.
Yeah, really smart adjustment there by Cross. Obviously, a nice high inside set there from Dowling. Tough set to make from that side of the court. But Cross makes a really, really smart swing. He gets his feet to the ball, doesn't take a hard swing into the bottom of that block, instead uses it and goes off the hands, sends that ball flying out the side. Great point there for the Tigers.
Condon Oldriff gets it over, dug up by Moland. He will go over and out of bounds, trying to get that kill, but way out that ball goes.
Yeah, Condon Oldriff been making an impact for the Tigers out of the middle in terms of his blocking and his hitting. But even from what I saw in preseason, what I've seen so far, a really, really impressive float serve for him as well. Puts a lot of pressure on the Rouge et Or, forcing them to try and get a side out.
And now Rouge et Or is struggling to get that ball over. Dowling will set up De Jong, and that was a tip. Now Dowling this time to cross, tries to tip it over, but it blocked by Girard. Like you said, impressive blocker when it comes down being in the middle and tracking that ball.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think RESQ releases the measurements in terms of wingspan and height for guys, but I'd be willing to bet from what I've seen from Girard over the past couple of years, probably having one of the longest wingspans in the league, which gives him a really good advantage as a middle blocker.
Now Moland, cross, Dowling to De Jong off the blockers. Rouge et Or from the back and out of bounds. Looks like Olivier Thibault was trying to make that play, but the Tigers were all ready. And the point goes as the ball goes out of bounds the way of Tigers.
Yeah, nice deep swing there by De Jong, puts some pressure on the defense, forces Laval to have an out-of-system pipe set. A little bit too much on that from Moulin, and the Tigers capitalize with the point.
Now Bergeron digs up the service. Olivier Thibault, and a violation there by Olivier Thibault as he was trying to set up 4-10 for the attack, but that did not work out for them.
Yeah, a little bit of a double there from Olivier Thibault. He seems a little bit frustrated. The Rouge et Or probably think there should be a little more calls towards the Tigers, but obviously you got to focus on your game and control what you can control.
And it looks like the Tigers were ready to go for a block on Lozier, but the Rouge et Or read that, set up Girard for a kill down the middle once more.
Yeah, nice bounce back there from Olivier Thibault, setting it up to his top middle. Girard gets a huge kill to position one.
And he will get to serve now. Dowling sets up De Jong, and he'll get the ball in. A quick angle checks there by De Jong, getting that ball through and the point for the Tigers.
Yeah, very fast set there. A nice run, a nice connection. Smart swing by De Jong. Obviously, it looked like it may have caught him potentially a little low, but makes a really smart swing down the line.
Cross. Now, Lozier through the blockers. Tigers sent 3. De Jong. And Cross is forcing that over. Now Olivier Thibault will set up Henderson, but the Tigers with the attack of their own. And Ejekam is there, read the play perfectly, sees the ball up high and goes up for it, gets the kill.
Yeah, really great rally there from the Tigers. Some nice digs. Cross there in position 6. If you actually look, he switched up his serve a little bit. He originally at the start of the game had been ripping that spin serve, but the Tigers are seeming to have a little bit more success here with the float serve as the Rouge et Or are kind of starting to struggle with passing these float serves coming from the Tigers.
Tran dug up. Now Dowling sets up Donovan, but Donovan goes off the blockers, and well played there by Rouge et Or timing that.
Yeah, I know Donovan's frustrated with that one. It was a nice set there by Dowling, but Donovan's got to try and look at his matchup there. Down the line, he's got the smaller Olivier Thibault as a setter, so he's got much more of an advantage down the line than he does have going cross court up against Hugo Henderson.
Now Dowling sets up Ejekam, and Ejekam, instant impact off the bench, getting yet another kill for the Tigers.
Yeah, Jackham has been very, very good offensively for the Tigers here. As you said, coming off the bench, he's been a great, great impact on the game so far.
5 kills on the game with a 67% on the hits. Now off the blockers goes Anderson. They keep it alive. Condon Oldriff, instant response, not leaving the room, gets the kill, and a 3-point lead for the Tigers.
That's a really, really smart play there from Dowling in transition like that. Sees that nobody's really expecting that middle set to Condon Oldriff, and because Condon Oldriff stands at 6'7", he doesn't need much of an approach to get a good swing on it. Puts a good swing on it, essentially sets himself up for a party ball, and takes advantage for the Tigers' point.
Now Ejekam will be serving for the Tigers, gets it over, dug up by Bergeron. This time Duce is on the set. Donovan off the blockers. Duce now setting up 4-10, finding the empty space and the point for Rouge et Or.
Yeah, so it was actually a substitution there coming in from the Rouge et Or, taking out the original setter who started all the sets so far for them in Olivier Thibodeau, and bringing in Doucette, who's typically a libero for the Rouge et Or and has been last year as well, but obviously coming in here as a setter, so he's looking to make an impact and switch things up here for the Rouge et Or.
Ooh, dug up there by Tran. Dowling now setting up Donovan. The miscommunication there by Rouge et Or, and off the blockers they go now this time. And Donovan not hesitating. Excuse me, that would be Condon Aldriv. Second time now we see the ball flying up high in the air, and he's not willing to give up and just rejects any given opportunity.
Yeah, taking advantage of those overpasses coming from the Rouge et Or. Huge thing coming out of the middle, and at his size, making a huge impact here for the Tigers.
Now Dowling floats it over once more. This time Doucette to 410 off the blockers, and another point for the Tigers. Condon Aldriv and Donovan are both ready for that one, and a momentum certainly swinging now the way of the Tigers as they take a 4-point lead, 13-9. If you are Gino Brusso, the head coach of the Rouge et Or, what would you potentially be talking through with your guys in the huddle?
Yeah, so obviously the Tigers are making some really good plays, digging a lot of balls. But if you're the Rouge et Or, you've been playing relatively well throughout this game. You've been executing, you're getting kills, but you got a new setter coming in, so he's got to establish that new connection with these hitters. But I think if you're the Rouge et Or right now, you got to ride your big guns. If you're trying to get back into this game, you got to make sure Fortin's getting his touches, because he's been very efficient so far in the game, gotten a lot of kills here for the Tigers, but you also got to make sure that set is there for him. That last block the Tigers were able to get looks like it was a little bit underset for Fortin, so you got to let him take advantage of his matchups and get some kills here for the Rouge et Or. But it's a very, very important time in the game here for the Tigers. Obviously, I think probably their largest lead of the match so far, just at 4 points here. But if they can extend this to a 5 or 6 point lead and keep that pedal to the gas, we could potentially be looking at a fifth set here at the Dowplex on this lovely Friday night.
And as you remember, at that second set break, we were talking about the hit percentage from the Rouge et Or, who are sitting at .267. Now they dropped to 198. What do you think has been the story of that drop? What really slowed them down around the net?
Well, I think the Tigers' serving pressure has been the biggest thing. They've all switched kind of over to that float serve, and you can tell passing-wise they've been having a lot of trouble handling that. So obviously when you're not in system, they're having a lot more difficulty passing that ball and making sure they're in system so they can get really good sets. And I think that's also led to their setting change as well. So the Tigers are definitely taking advantage here.
And this time, Hugo Henderson takes up the set from Doucette and makes the Tigers pay, finding the empty space and getting that kill.
Great read there from Condon Aldriv out of the middle for the Tigers. He's up on the middle. He was ready for it. Obviously just guessed wrong on the side. So great kill there by Henderson, and a nice point there for the Rouge et Or.
Now he'll be serving. The crowd is stumping, and the ball does not go through. Certainly the crowd was assisting there on that one, forcing that service error from Rouge et Or.
Yeah, obviously the Tigers have shown some life here in this game, and because they've shown some life, the fans have gotten into it too, and this is huge for the home court advantage here for the Tigers. They can definitely make some noise and get in the head of the Rouge et Or at the service line.
Now Donovan gets it over, floating. Now 410 will find the space and make the Tigers pay with another kill, make it 14 in the game for 410.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if they want to get back in this game here, that's one of the guys they're going to be looking to feed the ball a whole lot coming through the halfway mark of this fourth set here.
Now 410 will be serving. Gets it over. Tran receives it. Dowling now sets up De Jong. He'll go off the blockers, and the blockers will pay dividends and get the point the way of Rouge et Or.
So yeah, it looked like a little bit of an underset here from Dowling, but obviously De Jong's got to recognize that when he's got that underset, he can't be going for that kill low into the block, and it's something we've touched on throughout that game. So got to either make a nice smart tip or try and recycle that off the block and bring it back on your side.
This time 410 will make the error on the service, and the crowd once more helping out the Tigers to get yet another point. Now Condon Aldriv will have an opportunity to get something of his own and get that run going off the net. Now 410 will find the gap and hit it off Condon Aldriv to get the point.
And like we talked about, they're going to him a lot right now, and the Tigers need to expect that coming into or towards the end of this fourth set. A lot of their balls, especially on good passes, are going to be going towards 410, regardless if he's in the front row or the back row.
Now Moland will go to serve, and another mistake here. That's make it 3 for 3 against the Rouge et Or, as they got the chance to get something going and instantly shut down by their own misses.
Yeah, the Tigers need to take advantage here big time. They're getting a few free points. They got to capitalize here and try and extend this lead.
Now Lozier will go off the blockers, and the Tigers will get another point here. The whole bench is reacting, and crowd is going crazy.
Yeah.
Cannot hate that one bit, as the home court advantage, like you said, is really paying off here late in the fourth set. De Jong. Bergeron will dig it up. Now Doucet will find Girard, and once more he will not hesitate and punch it through.
Yeah. Great swing there from Girard. I think Tigers have got to realize he's had a couple huge kills there to that position one. So maybe potentially out of their middle block, adjusting it a little bit to that side to try and take that shot away and see if he can mix things up and go back to 5.
Now Girard will serve. Tran will dig it up, and miscommunication here by the Tigers, and you see the frustration on Cross, as he was expected, I believe, Edgecamp to get to that ball, but none of them went.
Yeah, I mean, in a situation like that, Cross is the front row hitter, so he should never have to take that second ball, especially when Dowling calls help. So I think that's got to be on Donovan there to step in and obviously make a set and give the Tigers a chance in that point.
Girard. Dowling will set up De Jong. He'll go off the blockers and in. And looks like the referees are not calling it in, and you can see Dan Oda frustrated on the sideline, expecting that point to go for the Tigers, but instead it gets Rouge et Or closer and within 1 point.
Yeah, some nice leadership there coming from Ejeckham. Obviously only a second-year player, but you can see him out there telling all the guys, calm down, it's okay, next point. And that's the mindset you need going into this. Obviously they think that should have been their point, but you need to focus on what's most important.
Now Donovan will dig it up, and this time around you could see Cross going off the blockers, and the leadership from Edgecamp perhaps inspired that play for the Tigers.
Yeah, making a huge difference. Even as a second-year player, Jeckham's been making a huge impact on this game, and obviously paying dividends for the squad and keeping everyone's mind in the right place.
Now Cross, and Doucet will dig it up, but forced over there. The Rouge et Or, and Donovan this time makes them pay on the attack, gets the kill, and extends that lead back to 3 points.
Yeah, the crowd was not a big fan of that first contact, but obviously on a serve, especially with the hands, based on the rules of the game, you're not really able to call a double. So even if it is that ugly, there's no call really going to be able to come from the ref.
Cross. And now the mistake comes on a service error, and the point goes the way of Rouge et Or.
Yeah, this is really important time here for the Rouge et Or as they get their big gun fourth hand back to the front row. So you can see whenever they're in transition, they're going to be looking to feed him here as they try to make this comeback here in this fourth set.
Dowling will set up Edgecamp for another kill down the middle. The athleticism on display is impeccable. Once more, the Tigers will extend that lead back to 3 points.
Yeah. Ejeckham, he's been making a huge impact here for the Tigers, providing a lot of energy off of the bench and giving them exactly what they need to close out this fourth set here and try and push us into a fifth set.
Sidhu gets it over. That was dug up by Mullen, and now miscommunication there, and that was rewarded by the blockers from the Tigers as 410 was forced to take a far shot, and certainly not successful one.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but the biggest difference in this game and where the turning point is made is from the service line for the Tigers. Cross has switched over that float serve. Obviously, Donovan's their big gun, so he's keeping going with that spin serve, but all the Tigers have been putting service pressure on the Rouge et Or, and you can see them struggling with those floats. And as we talked about, their hitting percentage before the third set was, I believe, at 267, and now it's down under 200. So that's a huge adjustment here for the Tigers, and it's paying dividends, as you've said, and giving them a 4-point lead here, 21-17, and the Tigers are looking to close out this fourth set here.
And like you said, the service errors, I feel like the Tigers also have managed now to bounce back from that second set where they had a few service errors, and now we hardly saw any in that third set and fourth set. I think they only had 2 in the whole 21 points, and in that stretch, giving up only 2 points on those mistakes. So certainly credit going the way of Tigers on that one, as they lead 21-17 here down the stretch in the fourth set, trying to force the fifth one and have a chance to win this game.
Yeah, as we talked about, the Tigers are more than capable of competing with these teams, and they're really showing that right now. They're cutting down on those long runs for other teams. They're putting service pressure on, and this is what you're going to get to be successful in this league.
Now Sidhu dug up there by Mullen. Now Doucet will set up Lozier, and Lozier will go out of bounds. Another kill for the Tigers, and the crowd loves it just as much as the players do.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. If I'm head coach Gino Brosseau from the Laval Rouge et Or, after a great pass like that, I'm going to be looking at Doucet and not be very happy. You have your big gun fourth hand with a really advantageous matchup against Dowling. You need to be taking advantage of that right now to try and get back in this game.
He must have heard your prayers, as Doucet on that one will set up 410 for an easy kill.
Yeah, I mean, as a setter at this level, you need to be looking to take advantages of your matchups, and Dowling's done a great job of that in this third and fourth set. And obviously, because their passing hasn't been as good, Doucet and Thibodeau have also not done a great job.
Lozier this time is in. The Tigers expected that to go out of bounds, and it seemed for a second that it was, but this time around, he made them pay with a service ace.
Yeah, well, the Tigers right here, yeah. Honestly, great timeout here from Dan Oda. Obviously, great ace there from Lozier, but he wants to slow the tempo down, slow the pace down. We saw this in the last set as well. Just relax the Tigers. They know they're in a good position right here, but they don't want to let things spiral out of control and get close. So they're going to take that time out, refocus, reset, focus on this next point. I also wouldn't be surprised to see coming out of this timeout, Josh DeYoung is positioned between position 1 and position 6 in the back row as the hitter. I would not be surprised for them to bring him into the service receive and bring him into the passing, just so they have 4 passers, so they're not caught off guard by this next spin serve from Lozier.
And Tigers have a 3-point lead in this fourth set, 22-19. If you want more Tigers action, they will be returning on the court tomorrow, Saturday, October 22nd, when they will be hosting once more the Rouge et Or, who are visiting all the way from Quebec City and University of Laval. The start time is set to be at 2 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. For those watching on the East Coast, it will be 1 p.m. East Standard Time. Now Lozier will go back to the service line for Rouge et Or.
Yeah, 3-man service receive here from the Tiger. They're leaving DeYoung at the D-ball.
Now Tran will dig it up. Dowling will set up Donovan. He will go through the blocker and get the point for the Tigers, 23-19.
Yeah, a little bit of an inside set there from Dowling, but does a great job putting it up in the air and giving Donovan time to get his feet there. And Donovan, instead of going hard into the bottom of that block, makes a nice high swing, uses those hands to his advantage to get a point here for the Tigers.
Now Dowling goes right over, and now Henderson makes the Tigers pay down the middle. No one was expecting that ball, as the Henderson truly found that gap and really took advantage of it.
Yeah, I know Condon Oldriff's going to be frustrated with that one because that's the second ball coming out of the middle. I believe he thinks he could have gotten his hands on because hands are a little late and went right between them. So he's going to want to have that one back.
Donovan will dig it up. Dowling will set up DeYoung off the blockers and out of bounds. Doucet was trying to make the hustle play, but out of reach, and the point will go the way of Tigers. Now Donovan will have an opportunity to get that set point for the Tigers. Donovan goes up, gets it right over. Bergeron will dig it up. Now Doucet will set up 410, and he will be denied by Cross, as Tigers force set number 5, taking this one 25-20.
Absolutely huge block there from Justin Cross. Obviously, Cross knew it was coming. I think most of us knew it was coming. They were going to go to their big gun there to try and bring them back here at the end of this fourth set. Cross reads it, gets his hands in on that cross-court swing, and makes a huge block to extend this to a fifth set here for the Tigers.
And Cross with the absolute highlight here from Dalplex in Halifax, Nova Scotia, denying Fortin of getting any opportunity to get that kill and extend that fourth set. Instead, Tigers find that breathing room, claw their way back into this game and force that set number 5 being down 0-2 to start. But obviously the momentum has shifted immensely towards the Tigers. What do the Rouge et Or have to find in order to get that momentum back and force the Tigers play a little bit off their heels?
I mean, the biggest thing, we've kind of touched on it, is their service reception. The Tigers have been great with their float serves, and you've seen the Rouge et Or have had a ton of issues, and they've been struggling to really make good passes on these float serves. So that's the biggest thing here in these third sets. If they can execute on their serve receive, it's obviously going to give them the chance to get a win here in this this fifth set. But for the Tigers, they have to keep that pedal to the metal. They have to keep serving well, and that's going to give them scoring opportunities in this game, and it's going to allow them to take advantage of their serving pressure. So obviously, going into this fifth set, the Tigers, they look like a new team this year. Obviously, being a part of that squad last year, there were a lot of situations where we'd go down 0-2 and the team would fold and not show a lot of resiliency. But they're showing they are a new team this year. Obviously, fighting back from down 0-2, you putting yourself in a situation where you have an opportunity to win this game. The biggest thing now is focusing your mind on this fifth set, and they need to take advantage and try and start off this fifth set strong. Getting off to a strong start in this fifth set is going to put them in a position to have the confidence to know that they can go out and win this game.
Now, Tigers, excuse me, I'm at a loss of voice cords at this point, forcing me to yell and scream, but guess what? I love it. Now, the Tigers force that fifth set, which will be going to those who don't know, who might be watching for the first time perhaps, will be going to a 15-point mark. First team to reach that mark will be taking the game in 5 sets. Now, the Tigers have shown tremendous resiliency against this, fairly old Rouge et Or squad. Obviously, Tigers do have some veteran play in Dowling, who is in his 4th year, and that would be the only 4th-year player here for the Tigers with, Callum Campbell, who is a libero in his 3rd year. But the rest of the squad is really young, whereas, having Hugo Henderson and Gerard, who've had tremendous amount of experience, they're fighting. They're showing what they can do. And now Sidhu, serving for the Tigers, gets it over. 4-10. They will go back to where the ball belongs, and Fortin will start the points on the board between the two.
Yeah. Huge opportunity here for the Tigers. They're going to be looking to bounce back. Lozier back to serve. They know they're expecting that heavy spin serve. Got to make an early adjustment, set an early platform to get a good pass here and get them a scoring opportunity.
Gets it. I was about to say over, but scratching that net and barreling down the ball as the Tigers will get the ball back, and Dowling will head back to that line. Dowling, as we said, 4th-year player out of Waterloo, Ontario, will get it over. And 4-10 once more, this time with the tip, and read perfectly there, sees 2 blockers, right? Like you said, in Condon Oldrev and Donovan, but just tips it over.
Yeah, great tip. It was a great choice there by 4-10. Obviously, Tran's got to be a little bit quicker on the read there. He's got to know you've got 2 big hands up there, 2 big blockers. You got to know there's probably not a hard ball coming at you, so you got to be ready for that tip.
Now Henderson gets it right over, dug up by Donovan. Dowling will go back to Donovan, and it stays alive. 4-10, forced to push it over. Dowling will set up De Jong. That will go off the blockers, and it'll stay alive. But this time, Lozier will go down the middle, and Tran, unable to control it. Point goes the way of Rouge et Or.
Yeah, the Rouge et Or, strong start here. Couple good passes on serve receive, and they've been able to string together a few points here. The Tigers have to bounce back here and can't let the Rouge et Or extend this lead.
Now Henderson on the service line as the fans hope for another service error, but it stays in as Tran was expecting that to go out of bounds. And 4-1 lead, and I expect Coach Oda to call a timeout right here. And as he does, early lead here in the fifth set by Rouge Or. What the Tigers have to accomplish to get back into the game and back where they were in the third and fourth sets.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of communication there from the Tigers, and I think that comes in a little bit of Tran's inexperience. That ball's very close to the line, and if you're on the borderline of making a decision like that, especially in a fifth set where the stakes are as high as they are here, that's just the ball you really want to step in and play. Regardless if you think it might be out, it's much better in a situation like that to take that ball and obviously play it. But obviously, as you mentioned, the Tigers, they need to reset, focus on this next point. This next point is huge for them. Obviously, bringing this game back within 2 points and getting a kill right here, getting their momentum back on track is the biggest thing right now if they're trying to get back in this fifth set.
Tigers will head back onto the floor with an opportunity to redeem themselves and climb right back into the game. We'll have Henderson to serve once more as the Tigers look to defend and get something going. Henderson gets it right over. Donovan will dig it up, and looks like once more the Tigers are not on the same page as Dowling was trying to set it up and sends it over a little too far out for the Young.
Yeah, a little bit of I think a decision error there from Donovan. Obviously, that serve was kind of in between, but he opts to go with the hands, and when that ball's that far in front of you, it's really hard to put a lot of height on it and give yourself a good pass. So he's probably going to want to opt towards a forearm pass there, give their team a better chance to get in the scoring opportunity here.
Henderson gets it over. Dowling will set up De Jong. He'll go off the blockers, and the ball goes in. Girard was ready for that one and denies De Jong off a point.
Yeah, obviously tough decision right there after an error from De Jong going back to him. Not a great swing going into the middle of that block. When you have Fortin and Girard set up there, really hard to score unless you're swinging high and deep. Tigers need a point right here to keep this alive.
Henderson, Donovan. Dowling back to Donovan, and the Tigers wide awake with that one. Getting the much needed point, like you said, and getting that kill, cutting the lead to just 4.
Yeah. Big stretch here coming up for the Tigers. They need to fight and scrap for every possible point to claw back and make this a game here in our fifth set.
Donovan goes up and floats it over. Lozier will get it. And this time around, Girard once more with a quick touch to get a kill for the visitors.
Yeah, they've had that nice connection going with that inside shoot with both setters so far this game. Girard and Henderson have both executed on that set so far. So that's something the Tigers have to be expecting out of the middle going into the rest of this fifth set.
Fortin gets it over. And ball goes out over on the dig, but Condon Aldrich yet again with the rejection to get the point for the Tigers.
Yeah, so super substitute, Ejeckum coming back into the game here for the Tigers, looking to make an impact here on the block. And we know in this rotation a few times on a good pass, they've gone to Girard, and he's had that hard swing to one. So let's see if Ejeckum reads this here and potentially gets us a big block here for the Tigers.
Doucet will set up 4-10, and off the blockers and in. This ball goes now. Unfortunate there for the Tigers as they try to get that one going, and they'll switch sides as the scoreboard reaches the 8-point mark.
Yeah, it was a nice read there from the Tigers. They were able to get 2 blockers there, but it looked like both Cross and Ejeckum may have been up a little bit early. So that ball caught both of them on the way down and obviously slips over onto the Tigers side for a Rouge or point.
Now the Tigers, just a reminder, will be back on the court tomorrow here at Dalplex in Halifax, Nova Scotia, playing the host to the visiting Rouge or from Quebec City, University of Laval. Come through if you are in the city to Dalplex or watch it from home. The game will set to start at 2 p.m. Atlantic Daytime and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mullen. Dug up by Cross. Now Cross is set up by Dowling, and Bergeron will dig it up, and this time De Jong is going for a tip. Lozier off the blockers. Donovan is there. Dowling will set up cross once more. 410 is there to receive it. Bergeron will set up Lozier. Lozier over 3 blockers. Donovan is there. Dowling now to De Jong. De Jong will over the blockers, but the Tigers stay with the ball, and this time Cross will go off the blockers and in it and out of bounds, getting that point for the Tigers, the much-needed point to cut the lead down to 4.
Really smart decision there by DeYoung. Realizes he doesn't have a great approach, realizes he can't make a really super hard swing, rolls that into the top of the block, gets a really nice recycle, and the Tigers are able to get one up to Cross for a huge point.
De Jong now on the serve. Lozier receives it. Doucet now sets up Lozier, and off the blockers he goes. An impressive kill there by Lozier.
Yeah, great set there by Doucet, and obviously a great bait there from Girard. Has to jack him up in the air, and Lozier is able to take advantage of that one-on-one matchup against Dowling.
We'll have Gagne Pelletier check in for Girard. Won't be surprised if he will be heading to that service line for Rouge et Or. It is a 5-point game here in the 5th set.
Yeah, you watched him come in last time for the Rouge et Or. He did that nice short serve to position 1/position 2 against the Tigers, and he was able to get an ace. So the Tigers, especially Tran as the libero there, has to be ready for that short serve coming again.
Now Gagne Pelletier floats it over. Cross is there. Dowling will set up Cross, and he will go slightly out and over. The point will go the way of Rouge et Or.
6-point lead here from the Rouge et Or, and they're now only 5 points away from closing us out here in this fest set. Tigers need to string together a run here if they want to have any chance to bring it back here.
He'll float it over once more. Cross is there. Now Dowling set up Cross. That will be saved by the Rouge et Or. Lozier will go off the blockers. Now Dowling will go once more to Cross. They will save it. Doucet will go to 410. That will be dug up by De Jong, and the ball is still alive. Looks like Dowling sets up Cross off the blockers, and this time around the Tigers will get the point.
Great resiliency by the Tigers there in that rally, but I'm going to be honest, looking at it from this angle, it's an absolutely, I don't want to say awful because I don't want to go with the refs, but that's a pretty bad, looks like missed net touch, because the net was moving a ton, and I believe that came from the Rouge et Or side. So obviously, I guess nobody saw the touch on the net, but Tigers were able to execute and get that point.
Now Cross gets it over. Lozier will receive it, and Lozier will now be set up by Doucet, and that will go the way of Rouge et Or as the ball goes out of bounds off the blockers, and Doucet this time to serve.
Yeah, great swing off the hands there by Lozier. Takes advantage of his matchup against Dowling, hits it off the side of the hands, and gets a big kill off the block to extend their lead back to 6 points for the Rouge et Or.
Now Doucet gets it right over Donovan. Floats it up high, and now this time Dowling sets up Donovan off the blockers. And Edgecamp gets the tip. Tram saves it. Fantastic hustle play there by Tran. Now Bergeron digs it up. 410 sees the empty gap and makes the Tigers pay. Another kill for Rouge et Or, and 12-5 the scoreline.
Yeah, timeout here from the Tigers. That's a very, very frustrating miscommunication, especially when they were able to get a dig and a recycle on that ball. They got to put that ball up high enough for Dowling to be able to get a good chance to make a good set and a good decision on that. They put him in a really tough situation where he's running away from his preferred position in the middle of the court, and obviously as he's squared up to the net, it's pretty much impossible for him to force that ball back out to left side. So it really cut down his options there, and that, I know that's one the Tigers and Coach Dan Oda would love to have back.
And now Dan Oda forced to call that timeout to get his squad to regroup and find ways to cut down this lead. Being down 7 in set number 5, the crowd is chanting, "Let's go Tigers," and hopefully we get to see them go and cut down that lead, as the water is not getting any better. You know, rough times come in every way possible, and this time around it's for Tigers to find a way to respond.
I mean,
take this game.
It's what we talked about at the start of this fifth set. For the Rouge or to come out and execute, they needed to improve on their serve receive. And they've done that in this set, and they've been able to get their attack back going, and then they've been able to execute.
And out of bounds goes Duce on the serve. Tigers getting, we can say, pretty much bailed out on that one, getting the ball back and potentially find a way to cut it more. Now Ejikam is out and over. Duce will set up for 10 there. And now this time Donovan off the blockers will get points for the Tigers as they cut the lead down to just 5.
Yeah, great read there from DeYoung on the roll shot from fourth hand. If I'm Doucette here as a setter, I'm going back to that matchup with fourth hand and Dowling. You got to try and take advantage of that smaller blocker, especially with your big hitter over there.
Bergeron digs it up. Now Lozier will go out of bounds and tries to go off the blocker but misses him completely as the Tigers once more get another point, and Gino Brusso is forced to call a timeout.
I say once again, if I'm Gino Brusso, I'm not happy with that setting decision from Doucette. I mean, obviously you want to mix the options up, but you have your best hitter against what would be the Tigers' weakest blocker. So if you're Doucette, you need to try and take advantage of that matchup, especially in a critical part like this in the fifth set. But if the Tigers are going to set Lozier into Donovan, which arguably, or he is the Tigers' best outside blocker, the Tigers are going to take that all day in this situation. So they're going to be hoping for that same outcome. But I'd be very surprised on pretty much any ball here if Doucette doesn't go back out to Fortin.
Now Tigers find the breathing room they much needed, trying to stay in this game, stay within reach, cut down that lead, and fight for their first RSEQ win of the season here at home, Dalplex in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Amelia Kurbanov alongside me is Craig Third-Kiltson, former Tiger, now being on the other side of this of the game.
Yeah, definitely a different perspective up here. You're able to see a lot more, but let's get back into it here. Tigers looking to mount this comeback at the end of this fifth set.
Ejikam dug out by Lozier. Lozier will go through the blockers, and looks like DeYoung was not there in time to receive it, and now the point goes once more the way of Rouge or.
You know, Lozier obviously missed his first attempt here in this fifth set. You know that's going to be in the back of his mind, so we'll see if he takes any juice off it or he goes all after it here.
Tran will dig it up. Dowling sets up Donovan. Donovan will be dug up by Douce. Now Bergeron will set up Lozier, and he'll find the empty gap and the set point for Rouge or.
I think that's reminiscent to the same kill Lozier had out of the pipe in that last set. Tigers only elect to put 2 blockers up there, and Lozier finds that gap exactly where that third blocker would have been. I think a little bit of a miscommunication there from the Tigers, but Lozier takes advantage, and now he's serving for set and match point for the Rouge or.
Now Lozier will keep it in. Dug up by Cross. Now Dowling finds Donovan. He will keep the Tigers alive off the blockers, and the ball would go out of bounds for a point for Tigers.
Dowling back to serve. Tigers in a 5-point deficit here to try and tie things up and extend our fifth set past regular points.
Now Douce will go to Molland, and he will get the set and match point for Rouge or. Impressive game and impressive comeback here by the Tigers, but fallen short here at Dalplex in their season opener.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, personally being on the team last year, regardless of the loss, that's a great fight there for the Tigers. But obviously I know this is going to be a tough loss for all the guys to take in. But like you said, we're right back at it again tomorrow. So they need to refocus, reset, get their takeaways from this game, figure out what they did well, figure out what didn't go well. I know Dan Oda will be hard at the film tonight and looking at any adjustments they can make to try and get back in this game. But tough loss for the Tigers, but it's definitely something to build on here going into the second game after their regular season debut.
And final score today, Dalhousie Tigers 2, Rouge or 3 in a hard-fought season opener. home opener for the Tigers. You've been watching RSEQ volleyball here from Dalplex. I'm Ilya Kurbanov saying so long with Craig Third-Kiltson, and we will see you next time. Make sure to always keep it simple, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.